Hi everyone. I'm really glad to be here, be back at Print Futures. My name is Sophie Edelhart. I am a printer and bookbinder based in New York City. And as Mint mentioned, I presented with Partners in Print last spring. And during that presentation, I was talking about my work mostly at the University of Toronto, working with a historic Jewish type collection there that had been acquired by our campus letterpress studio from a Yiddish socialist newspaper in Hamilton, Ontario. So I was talking a little bit about working with that collection as well as the work that I produced with it and sort of inspired by it. But the biggest sort of wrench that was thrown into my creative life since that presentation is that I moved to New York, and no longer had that studio, that type collection, and really wanted to find a way to recreate that sort of space, that creative environment I had in Toronto, in New York. I was not going to do this alone, so I found some friends to sort of collaborate on creating this space. And it was important that we work together because we are all short on money and time and space in New York, as is true in many major cities. And what came out of that was the Jewish Book Arts Collective. And these are my fellow collective members. So from left to right, Caleb Scher, myself, Jacob Rom, Jay Saper, and EJ Yucha. We are all printers and bookbinders working in various mediums. And in addition to all of our work, all of us have a curiosity in the Jewish book and in sort of various Jewish languages, especially endangered Jewish languages. And so we had a lunch at a Polish diner a little over a year ago, and we hatched a plan to basically have a not only a collective, but also a space. And what we envisioned the space being was a book art studio that would be collaborative in nature, where we could have workshops, where we could be a space for education, but also where we could be producing our own work, as well as working on collaborative projects with each other. And we got very lucky, and we found a space at the Centro Primo Levi in New York. Centro Primo Levi is a archive and a publisher. They focus a lot on Italian Jewish writers and writing. And they have a space called Book House, which they envisioned as being a kind of communal space for all aspects of the book. So in this very small space on the sixth floor of the Center for Jewish History is a space that involves a publishing wing as well as a rare bookstore and a new bookstore. And in this space, they also had a closet, which we turned into a letterpress studio. So on the left here is a picture of the space sort of before it was cleaned out. Actually, originally there was boxes like literally floor to ceiling. And through the work of some very mighty interns, we managed to get all of those boxes out of the space. And on the right, you can see sort of the beginning seeds of our studio. So we have some type cabinets and we have a single tabletop press. So it's a very rough and ready project. It's a little funky, but with our items in the space, it means that we could finally sort of start doing those public programs that we had wanted to do. So our first project was a card. We collaborated with the Centro Primo Levi on this, and the inside says, "Live, thrive, grow like a small fish in fresh water." In Ladino, "Vivas, crezcas, engrandezcas como un pesico en aguas frescas." And Ladino is a language otherwise known as Judeo-Spanish. This was a language that was spoken by Jews originally sort of who trace their roots back to the Iberian Peninsula. This is also the language that was spoken by many Italian Jews. And this is a phrase that you actually typically say after somebody sneezes. But we thought it had sort of a nice sentiment to make it into a card. And so our first workshop we held in November. We had people printing this card on their own. And on the left, this is a picture of one of my collaborators, Jacob, showing someone how to use the tabletop press to print their card. And on the right, this is Stella Levy, who she's 102 years old. She's actually a native Ladino speaker. And she has a very close relationship with the Centro Primo Levi. So she was there for our printing workshop, got to print her own card. And I think this is a good sort of encapsulation of everything we want to be doing with this space is that, it's a place where people are coming to learn the art of printing, sort of get that hands-on experience. But also it is connected to a larger community. It's also connected to larger projects of language reclamation and sort of endangered Jewish languages. So this was our launch event, and we followed it up with on December 25th. There's a festival that happens in New York every year called Yiddish New York. It always takes place over Christmas week, and we worked with them on having a printing workshop that was scheduled for Christmas Day. So it felt like sort of we needed to make a Christmas card. And this is obviously a picture of Santa. And the phrase on the bottom says a freilichen kretzmech, which is a Yiddish phrase. Kretzmech sounds like Christmas, sort of in the English, but it actually means scratch me. So it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek phrase for Christmas. And a freilichen kretzmech means a merry scratch me, basically. Um, so we set up a press. And so you can see the two pictures on the right, you'll see Caleb and Jacob and EJ showing people the form and having people print it on the tabletop press. And on the left, we also set up a provisional press with wood type, so people could actually practice setting their own name. So in that way, we gave people the sort of hands-on experience of getting to set type as well. Also learning the differences of what it means to set a non-Latin script that runs opposite to how Latin scripts run. So that was a way to get some people sort of more into the printing process beyond just the sort of pulling of the print. This is everything we've done so far. All of this happened in a year. So it's pretty incredible sort of what we have managed to set up in that year. It is also still in its very nascent stages. Again, it's a little rough around the edges. But to talk a little bit about what's coming up and what's next, we are continuing to set up our space. So right now we only have that tabletop press. We did buy a Vandercook, which is very exciting. It is currently on Long Island, and we're going to be moving that into the space in the spring. We're growing our type collection. So we're in talks to actually acquire a historic Jewish type collection that we can work with, a wood type collection. But this is also sort of a call out to anyone here who knows about a Jewish type collection that is sitting in someone's basement or that's sitting in a shop people don't know what to do with. Let us know. We are interested. We are also going to be creating an artist portfolio Haggadah. This is a multi-year project that will bring in multiple artists to kind of work on a book together, the Haggadah being the book that you read during the Passover Seder. And I won't talk about that too much. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit later in the breakouts, but that's one project we want to do, as well as continuing to host bookbinding and printing workshops. So we have some proposals coming up in the spring. Nothing publicly announced yet, but some pretty exciting stuff coming up. So keep in touch. You can follow us on Instagram at JBA Collective. You'll notice there's nothing on there yet because we literally made it yesterday, but there will be stuff on there very soon. And that's where you can follow our work. Also, please get in touch. Again, this is meant to be a collaborative space, also a like low cost barrier space. So if you're in New York City, let us know, reach out and stop by. Thank you so much.